Controls, yeah.
Okay, we have sound, and of course, we have sleeping puppies. But I asked Sharon to come, and so during trainer talk on Monday, Haley had mentioned a few things that we do not allow to happen when watching puppies. So we're in phase 2 of puppy watching, and I wanted Sharon to stop in today, not only to see how big the puppies got in one day that she hasn't seen them, but to also kind of give everybody an idea on what phase 2 of the puppy watching consists of. So, thank you for coming in.
You bet. And as I was coming here, I'm like, I don't know that we actually really went over the phase 1, so I'll just quickly touch on that. But, I was thinking to start off.
Really working? Yeah, you know it is,
Okay.
yeah. Just sometimes it's not.
Showing up.
Making sure it's on.
Yeah, all the lights are lit up, so.
Okay, all right. So in everything we've been talking about, it's kind of like we look at the product of what you want as a service dog. And the Service Dog Project and their mobility dogs are very unique in what you want as trainers working with adult dogs or adolescents. You get them when they're very young. So I wanted to ask you, what are some of the attributes or characteristics that make a really good service dog?
Focus.
Yeah.
That is one. Focusing on us instead of noses to the ground. So when we give them treats, when I first came, I noticed that people would just scatter treats on the floor to give the puppies something to do while they exited or did something else real quick, as a distraction, right? And that was kind of, we don't want the noses to the ground. We want the noses up. We're always saying head up, head up, head up when we take the dogs out walking.
Yeah.
We want them to focus on what is happening there, not on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the first things that I tried to put a stop to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't throw, if you want to give a cookie or a treat, hand it to them. Get them nice and gently taking it from your hand, not scourging on the floor. I mean, when they are playing and you have like a snuffle mat or something, that's different. That's them foraging and that's them just playing.
Yeah.
But when working with these dogs, we need head up.
My kids, same thing. I always tell them, eyes on me. Eye contact is really important. So even when they're 4 and they're starting to speak, it's okay, eyes on me, because otherwise they'll learn to communicate with their head down, or they'll turn away. Some are confident, they'll look you right in the eye. Some are shy, they'll look away. Some will they'll literally bump their friend or their sibling and say, can you ask? Well, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
So similar behaviors happen in the dogs too. It's kind of funny to watch. What are some of the other characteristics that make, like if you see it and you go, oh, that's going to make a good dog? Can you pinpoint any?
Like one day I was in there and I actually somebody took a picture of it, which we posted. I just had a squeaky toy.
Yeah.
And when I squeaked it or said pop up or anything like that, the dogs they'd immediately pick their heads up and focus, and they would sit and they would cock their head a little bit, but they were focused on you I'm going to learn something, that, and that's what that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that, not the one that is kind of off wandering around smelling the roses over there, in the left field. They're actually.
Oh, she's not talking about it. Yes, she is.
No, I'm not. No. So we're looking for that focus, for that engagement, to be able to work them.
What would you say are some of the negative things that will hold a dog back? Whether it's natural or whether it's a bad habit. What are some of the things that when they get to be 125 pounds, it's difficult for them to...
Yeah, we don't want anxiety. We don't want anxious dogs. We don't want we want them to be able to figure out problems on their own, especially even at this stage.
Yeah.
We don't want them to be hiding in their kennels and shaking or not being able to have a person approach them. Not that when they're a service dog, you want people to approach them, but you don't want them to cowl, or you don't want them to be anxious or even turn to the fear, like a fear biting. You don't want any of that. You want them to be confident.
Okay. All right. So that's perfect. So as I've kind of seen what's different about the service.
Just slide over.
Yep.
So cute. About the service dog project and what. There's a lot of things that are done very, very differently because you want different dogs. One of the first things I realized is that, you know, these dogs, they don't get put out into homes to get home raised. And there's a very specific reason for that. It was decided a long time ago, and we've talked about it a lot. Things that happen in a home and when you're puppy raising, it's very different than where you have here. This is a very unique situation. Everybody here is, you know, the money that you donate and everything that we're doing is to create a system, and we have control. I mean, I think that's what we talked about. That's the difference. We have the ability to have an isolated space, to control who comes in and what we're teaching the dogs and what we're putting in front of them. And a lot of that has to do with, like, we can also eliminate bad habits. We can eliminate things that are, I call it user error, you know. It's kind of like, it's not part of their instincts to do, but we can kind of inadvertently change it.
Yes.
And we can do it for the good and we can do it for the bad. So really quickly, the first stage of training, when I gave the training, it was to everybody. It wasn't just to, you know, new people, it was to everybody. Sarah, how many years have you been doing this?
It will be 9.
Oh my gosh.
Third.
So almost
26
as
litters.
many as the cameras, right?
Wow.
Almost. No,
Yeah.
it started in 2012, the end of 12. I started in 14.
So you are one of the absolute veterans.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've been through a lot, you've seen a lot.
Yeah, good and bad.
Yep. And so what we did was we trained everybody all on the same system. And that way we're all communicating with the same words, same language, we're all doing the same things, and we can isolate if there's something that is amiss or awry. We can kind of go back and go, okay, let's figure that out, let's change it together. So my method of kind of like raising my kids from nursing and you know, having newborns, it translates so well to the puppies. I call it the easy method. It's not mine. I got it from a book I was reading, Australian, but it really, really does. It tells the natural behavior of dogs. Of newborns, but we've translated it into dogs. And if we are here to observe. That's one of the biggest things that we taught in the first stages. We're here to observe. We're not here to inject ourselves into their pack. We're here to observe and provide safety and security, and to catch things and mold them so that you guys, as trainers, have the best of their nature. In the first, say, 5 weeks, we're really here to support the mom. It happens to be Capri this time, but knowing that we have done this as a system, we can inject any dog.
Correct.
Bianca's very different than Capri. Bianca would still be in there, I'm sure, right?
She'd be teaching them all a lesson with her paws.
Exactly. And so, and the thing is, I think we didn't really get to see what Capri would be. We saw her a little bit, but she came home last time, like right at 5 weeks.
Right.
And maybe that's because you're here. Bianca's like, this is her home. Everything's a little bit different. But all moms, parent a little different.
Yes.
So our goal the first session was their care and making sure that they ate. And we had systems in place, right? I mean, we were tracking their weight every day. We were making sure who, like the 4 or 5 skinny ones were, making sure that they got to the nipples first and they got the milk. And it was,
It was
worked.
tough.
It was,
Well, to figure out sometimes who was who.
and that's why you saw a clipboard, like literally every 2 minutes we're writing down, did they get whizzed? And, because she wasn't doing much of it. Did they eat a big one at week 3? Did they poop?
Yeah,
because
right.
the ones that weren't pooping weren't gaining weight either because
Right.
they were, the plumbing was stopped, if you call it. So that's what all that crazy scratching was, if you guys are wondering, like, what the heck are they writing down? We were recording everything so that the next person, if you were in here for 2 hours, the next person knew what to do, because sometimes you'll just, the one that trails in the back, like Banks, he was always in the back, right? And he was always the skinniest, so we would always make sure that he nursed first. Right. And because he's up to weight with everybody else, and he's doing well.
Yes.
So So Capri kind of took herself out of the equation, but the easy method is just in an acronym. So it's E for eat. So their nature is they're going to eat. And then A is activity. After they eat, they're going to have their activity. The first 5 weeks nursing was their activity. And then they went to the S, which was sleep. And it was mostly a coma. And then the Y comes next in the easy. And that's when you take care of you. As a mom, you take care of yourself. We would take care of Capri. We would make sure that she was fed. We would clean everything, do all those things that we didn't get a chance to do. And then once they woke up again, or once it was time, we would go in, and the first thing, they go to the bathroom. So in the beginning, we were whizzing them, so you saw lots of wipes and everything. Now we're at the next stage. The next stage is she's taken herself out, so we're no longer focusing on Capri, and now we're in kind of like the puppy management phase. And again, we need to be observers, not inject ourselves in. So if you see us sitting in this chair around here, or we're sitting outside, it's not because we don't love the puppies or don't want to be in there. Believe me, snuggling and cuddling with them is because the system works best when we observe and we go in when we can help. And so that's been kind of the biggest change. Capri, the mom, would normally be in there. Bianca would be in there, giving them their warmth, giving them their discipline. When they act, when they wake up and they're active. She would be disciplining them with her paw, with her nose, nudging them. The sounds, the if there's biting, if there's anything. She sits here, and you can see when something is out of.
She raises her head and kind of might go over and look.
Out of whack, she'll come over.
Yeah. Is that my son there bothering?
and then she'll look at one of whoever's here and kind of go, "Are you going to do it?"
Yeah, right. I'm not going to do it. You do it.
Same thing with the eating, right? So it's like Donna's in here, or anyone's in here. We're getting the gruel ready, or we're getting ready to feed them. The puppies know. She comes over, and she'll just put her head over. She always has her little boom, and then she goes to everybody else, and. And that's it. She looks at you to do your job. So, so we're going to step in only because we have to at that point. So the method is still the same. So we're feeding them out here, or when we're spoon feeding them from here, we're teaching manners. Yes. We're not letting chaos rule the day, even though it looks like chaos. They're slowly learning.
They are. They are.
Yeah.
And it's each week. Each week that we're constantly doing the spoon feeding and learning their names and telling them to wait. You will see a lot of this. Off.
Right.
They're starting to learn. This is all part of the training that we do. Another thing that we also did was we informed everybody. Everybody got a handout with the commands that the trainers use.
And it's up on the wall. Yep.
And exactly. So it's off or wait, the almighty finger, wait. And then we'll start doing more and more of the commands. But the more that the puppy watchers learn these commands, it's going to greatly help the trainers when these puppies are 12 weeks old. They've had their rabies vaccinations, and they are going into the barn, and that's where they will continue their training. They won't be here in the puppy room. I know. But once next week when they get their C5, they're going to be able to start coming out of here.
Which will be good.
They'll be able to start moseying out into the real world. They'll be able to go into the teepee area, doing puppy marches back and forth, explore all the grass over under the swing set. They'll be able to go places on the property, and they're just going to thrive.
Yeah.
But they'll know some of those commands.
Exactly. So that's huge. Like, it wasn't that way before. You didn't know what you were doing, or at least I didn't when I first started, and I didn't know what words to use, We have it written down. We have the part of the training. We go over those things. So, leave it. When we're in there, the basic method is when they're eating, and after they're eating and they start their activity and they're playing, we're in there, we're standing up. We're standing up because we want to be able to get to as many puppies as possible, and we're doing behavior management at that point. It's a lot of behavior management. So you have to kind of be standing up. You can't go in there and sit down, and plus it's not good for the puppies, it's not good for you. If you do sit down there at this age, when they're this big, they're of course just going to come all over you and crawl all over you. And
bite.
Not as much now, though, I noticed.
They're better?
I went in for a few minutes because
Yeah.
they were fighting,
Yep,
and then they started pooping, so I picked that up, and then I came out.
yep.
A couple came over, but the others, no, they
Yeah.
didn't. So
Yeah, that's
I
good.
think they're learning
They're-
that already.
They're interacting with each other.
Together,
which
and that's
is
what they
great.
should be doing, right?
Yeah.
So that's great, because I know we have not been in there as much, so cameras, if you're not seeing us in there much, I just, again, you want to know, it's because there's a purpose,
Yeah.
not because we're not in the room. We are absolutely watching everything, going in there, we're standing, and then usually, when I'm through kind of picking up all the poop and
Yeah.
everything, then I kind of go down to my knees, whichever group is active and has the most, troublemakers, shall we say. Some play very well. Others need to be, they need to be guided and
Yes.
told what's okay and what's not okay, especially if Capri's not going to do it. So you might see us on our knees in there, having the toys available, like Lynn was saying, using them as focus. I've been telling everybody, we have already been part of their training. And we are continuing as being part of their training. If we want to do the best we can to set these dogs up in no way for failure, but only for success.
Oh, definitely.
So using toys, we're already doing name recall. You'll see maybe, like when I have Addie here, she'll go on one side, I'll go on the other, and we'll do pup, and we'll have a little toy, and we'll try to get them all to come over, and you'll see which ones are stragglers, so those things, they might need a little bit more guidance, but they have that focus in them somewhere. Some you have to pull it out a little bit more, right? So that's, I think, what we get with this too, is isolated training, where you can actually okay, I'm actually supposed to interact and focus with these puppies, which is great for a volunteer who comes for only one. You know a lot. Someone who comes new or for just 1 or 2 hours, it's like, yeah, this is the things we're working on. So I'm on my knees, or we're doing this, and then, when like half or 3/4 they kind of cuddle up and they fall asleep, then you kind of have your 2 or 3 that are like still going around, and they might be trying to come over and bite everybody's ear and wake everybody up.
Not to point or mention any names.
But you know who you are. And that's kind of the time, really the only time I will really kind of ever sit there is when there's like maybe 1 or 2,
Right.
maybe 3.
Yeah.
And, they'll come over, you can use that. Haley made a request, and it's a great one, to make sure that we're like playing with their hands.
Yes.
Front and backs.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if there's any puppies left at the end, I won't let them come above here. And I think that's a good
Yeah.
rule, because they're also, if they're coming up to here,
Yeah, you don't want
they're showing dominance.
Yeah, right.
Right? So we have that problem with Mandy at home, who the 8-year-old, when she's 7, she loves laying down and, rolling around. But it shows dominance, and
Yeah.
they see people as part of their pack,
Right.
not as trainers.
Right.
And the goal is to get these guys to you focused. So we're practicing with the toys, we're practicing their focus, disciplining them only when necessary. And that's one thing we had Haley in here, I think it was during the last puppy talk, and I happened
Monday,
to be here. Yeah. And so something happened at once, and so we talked about it really quickly. But the redirection and the disciplining is important, because Capri would or Bianca would normally just do a quick.
Yeah, she'll put her head right on them and pin them down to the ground to make them stop.
So those things are hard to translate unless you've seen it. And adult trainers, you guys are in the barn, have seen a lot of it. A lot of the puppy sitters, and new ones especially, and even probably the camera people, haven't seen, when you have to get in there and kind of and do the disciplining. So if you see us, it's going to be a very quick, 1 finger or a 2-finger tap. If they're biting you and they're constantly biting you, the direction is just to quickly leave it and move on. Because I was telling them, like, the moms are not wagging their fingers and saying no and having a conversation with them. And if they get bit by their sibling, they're not, the mom's not over there licking their face going, "Oh, are you okay?"
It's all right.
That's coddling, and it makes really dependent, crying adult
anxious
dogs.
dogs. Yeah. You'll also see us sometimes, we will just stand on the side and just call the dog, call the name. And if the dog responds, great. A reward, praise, you know, spend a minute, you know, good, you're a good dog. If the dog doesn't respond to the name, because, you know, they're not going to know their names, not all of them at this point, then you go in. You can also grab them by the scruff and just shake it a little bit, pull it to the floor, just like a mother dog would.
Yeah. The redirection always first, and then if you have to put, I mean, if they're biting you and you have to kind of stop it, it's just a tiny quick. Usually within like twice of just getting that little bonk, they start licking your hand, which is fine. They can lick. I mean, and you give them praise and they get petted, and so they learn that they're thinking.
Yes.
We're not teaching them to think. We're just catching it. And encouraging them, this is a good thing. You should think what makes sense, you know? And yeah, so the disciplining there, if you happen to, sometimes they're loud. There's been a couple that have actually gotten like really growl. Yeah, they get really
sometimes
growly.
they are really mean, really.
And if we can stop it
definitely.
at this size,
then
when they get up a little bit, because they're going to grow so fast. That when they get up older, it's much harder to have to break up something that wasn't broken up.
Then you get to keep them in a pack even longer.
Yeah.
Knowing that they're all respecting whoever the human is that is with them, whether it's walking outside or feeding or anything. They're not going to get away with being aggressive or dominant over another one. We're the alpha. They're not.
Yeah. No, and that's exactly it. It doesn't have to be a range. It's just, nope, you're a dog. And I think another thing that I'm seeing, and I think everybody else is too, is that they really are bonding with each other and going to each other as their pack mates, as opposed to, I mean, because in the beginning they're going to go to warmth. And the human, whatever human's in there, they're going to be warmth. And so by us kind of taking ourselves out of the situation too and observing, they are, I mean, look at them all there. It's crazy. It's probably like the warmth of the sun, I mean, of the lamp, but still, they go off and there's not really many that just isolate.
But they seem to do it a little bit before, but now not so much.
No,
now they're all together.
It's really, really good. So the goal is, again, so the next stage of training is that we're all on board, and also, you know, I've done this training with the barn staff too, which is the overnights, day staff, and barn staff, which is great. All this week, anybody who comes into contact with the puppies will have kind of had the same messages. And, you know, Sara and Chris, they both were in here, and they're going to get contact with these guys, and I have encouraged them. Come over, spend time. Spend time during your shift. Come in, take your shoes off, go in there, be with them for a few minutes, you know. Not only is it good just to have interaction with them, but they will know your name, you will know their names, and there won't be that kind of abrupt switch.
Yes.
You know, that was one thing. It's nice to have a gradual transition, and I think we're going to have an amazing gradual transition, even with the change of dogs. There's been the first time I've seen Wallace over here. I'm excited to go see Wallace. But different dogs. You know, you have the barky dogs. You have the whiny dogs. You know, I can only imagine what it's like to be a newborn, and you have, you know, you've got Larky, you've got Jiminy. I was up there in the house. It could get a little loud, but then to come all the way down to the barn, it's darker. It
has smells. Lots of smells.
There's other animals right across the way.
The donkeys and
you got the donkeys that, you know, I think it's Mo every morning 5:30. She's every time. You got birds. There's birds in the house that are like in the corners. So as a little guy or a little girl, puppy at 12 weeks, it's gonna freak you out. So if you had anxiety before, and your person was always the one to make you feel better, then you're down there spending nights alone. You can't get to your other siblings, and it's pretty. So it can be pretty scary. It's like moving my kids when they move from like the all girls room to, you know, out of the crib, and you're going into the big kid bed, and oh, by the way, you're on your own. That would not. That's when you have screaming babies that come into your bed and want to snuggle with you at night. And the minute you do let them do it once,
they're there forever.
They're there forever. So our goal Lynn, is to hand these puppies over to you and have it be a transition that we've encouraged all of the characteristics that you talked about, that we work on focus, that we work on their manners, that we hand them over to you so that you can continue your training. And it's for the good of the dogs. I mean, if these guys, I can't wait to see how fast this group of litter gets the training and is able to get matched, because you're teaching them skills. You shouldn't have to worry about their behaviors. You know, we don't want to mess anything up. We want to help along the way. So hopefully we're doing that in a systematic way.
Yeah. Well, I think starting probably next week at some point, and we'll put it up on the board. We actually, Diane was wonderful. She actually did some research on sounds.
Yeah.
So we were looking at getting a CD that played fireworks and all that.
Yeah.
Turned out they returned my money and said, sorry, we can't provide it. So we did find, though, on YouTube. So we do have a smart TV here. We'll be on YouTube, and we will be playing those different sounds of. They're already used to dog barking.
Yeah, they hear the birds.
They hear the birds.
That's
so
probably not a bad thing
No,
for
it's
them.
great. It's
motorcycles, trucks, fireworks, thunderstorms, all those different things. We'll be playing for short amounts of time during the day to get them accustomed to some of those noises. We're also going to be using one of these kennels on the side to put a lot of the litter and just work on a couple of pups at a time right here in the puppy whelping area so that they can learn different things. You'll be able to see it, which would be awesome. And every puppy, again, will be touched. What is that saying? No child goes...
I don't know.
It's one of those school sayings, no child will be left behind.
Oh, left behind,
there you go. We'll be doing the same thing.
I homeschool, so none of them, they're always right at my feet.
Right.
No, but
But we'll be doing that with the pups, and hopefully every single one of these pups will become wonderful service dogs.
I absolutely think they will.
Yeah.
Because none of them, they can all do it.
Yeah.
They really can. They'll be matched with different types of people, which is great. But I think every single one of them can do it. You just gotta find them, catch them. I always say, catch them doing something right, and encourage the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And you'll have a dog that wants to make, or a person that wants to make that choice.
Yep.
Yeah, because they do. They naturally want to please you.
Yes.
Until they realize that's not a good thing. I should just go be trouble. Because that's the other thing.
Yeah.
I just had this
get attention, right?
And I just had this lesson with my kids. It was my 14-year-old, and you know he struggles with the 8-year-old sometimes. And he started doing, and I was just listening, and I said, Ambrose, come in. I'm going to give you a parenting lesson, because he was focused on telling her what she was doing wrong and how she could change it. And I said, honey, I'm going to tell you one thing. Attention is attention, and negative attention is the same as positive attention. Yeah. You just spent 15 isolated minutes looking at her, talking to her. You were telling her things she was doing wrong and trying to correct it. She doesn't care.
No,
she had your
attention.
She had your attention for 15 minutes. That's a lot. I said, your kids will do whatever they have to do to get your attention. So catch them doing something right. And spend 15 minutes giving them praise, and then we'll, you know, it's only my little lesson to him, but it's exactly the same. Catch them doing something well, and I'll tell you, having the ability to have so many people in here and actually observing them. I mean, you guys spend time, money, resources to raise these puppies. You don't send them out at homes.
Right.
They get A1 top service dog training. And we're just using everybody who's in there for the purpose of training now. No one's just coming in here puppy sitting.
Right.
They're puppy training. They're, you know, and it's going to be great.
Because every time you touch a dog, you're training a dog.
That's right. Yep. So if you have any questions, I mean, I know we're not answering any now. If you want to, we could, but I can certainly look through the rest of the day and I can try to answer anything.
Well, let's see if there's any questions out there. So if you guys have any questions about what Sharon has said to us, let us know. And because they're not all up and making all kinds of puppy love noises.
I know.
They've heard the worst noises already, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
They've heard feeding time. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
All right, so let's see.
But we could certainly. I'll tell you, I go over there.
Don't wake them up.
No, I will not. But they know the tap from over there.
Yeah.
They know the tap of the can.
Yeah.
And they are like up and
Oh, and the blender.
whoa, forget
Blender's
about it.
done now, forget it.
It wasn't even the blender the other day. I had a mistake of bringing the blender.
Oh, that, they know
All I
that.
did was walk it into the room. I had it ready.
And they knew.
Holy
Yeah.
moly! I had just fed them spoon
Yeah.
fed, so they weren't hungry.
Right.
It was all behavioral. It's amazing.
Wow. So sound is on the nursery. Thank you, Crafty. Thank you, Swam. Crafty says, thank you for the informative training discussion. If you are reading, when will Capri start going for overnights?
Home?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't have to talk. So, I mean, we from the beginning said we're going to do this the right way, and she can stay here as long as she needs. That's the answer.
Yeah.
I still think that she is, even just by being here, I think she's doing something.
Yes, I agree.
So I am not going to try to pull her early or anything else. I've told my kids, listen, you want to come visit her? We come visit her. We can take her outside for a walk. They're fine.
Take her for a ride. That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
I used to take my dogs, Merlot, Gabby, Bianca.
She's here as long as she needs to be, and even through that, we've already talked, she needs to be around longer than that. So I'm still going to do the overnight, so I'm going to be here 2 nights a week. She's going to be with me every time I come for the overnight.
Yep.
And she'll be here as long as she needs to. I think it's good for her, but it's also good for them. I mean, her milk has cleared up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was worse the last time when she came home early, because with Mandy, she was still nursing, and we didn't know that Capri was not a very good disciplinarian.
Yeah.
She is not.
No.
She let Mandy take advantage of her way too much. We're paying the price now. So, but now I know that it wasn't. It was just that was Capri. She's done it. She separated herself, and she's over there. She wants to come and peek, and she wants to care and love for them from afar. And
Count
that's
them,
okay.
make sure they're all there.
She does.
Yeah.
She makes sure people are doing their.
Yeah.
She's a good manager.
She is.
She did come in, I saw her at the end, I don't know if it was the weekend, I saw her in there several times, letting them nurse. I was kind of surprised.
When I'm here, she usually goes in there, and even if it's just for
she
a couple
listened to
minutes.
you, yeah.
No, it's not. I'm not even calling her.
She did, no, but
she'll
feels
go in
more comfortable, maybe.
when I'm with the others.
Yeah.
She'll go in when she knows she can only have, some of them are sleeping. But she does the weirdest things, like when everybody gets the food in there. I saw the other day, Cindy's got
She'd come
everything
in
in
then,
there.
yeah.
That's when she comes in.
I don't want
she
her in
inspects
there
their bums.
Yeah.
She walks.
She's not going to clean them, though.
No, but she's inspecting them. But if it helps keep order, if they know mom's there and she's the one. I mean, I just think it's just good.
Yeah.
It's good for them to also
But she
respect
also,
adult dogs.
when she's in the pond, going for a walk or whatnot, she can't wait to get back.
Yeah.
No, she runs back.
Right.
Yeah.
The other day I was over there and it was morning, and one of the dogs went off. I think they were finishing some hay or whatever, and she heard a bark, and she couldn't get to that door fast enough.
Yeah.
As I had let her off leash over there, she was just enjoying, and she was like, "Mom, we need to go.
Yeah.
We need to go now."
Yeah, we need
so
to-
it's also good for her too to have that extended connection. Yeah, she knows they're all in good hands because she doesn't know her dogs, the Christmas litter. She doesn't know them now. Like maybe if they were around a little bit, she would, but they don't know her as much, and I don't want that. Like,
Yeah. Like I can put Bianca with any of her
Yeah.
the turtles, and she still reprimands them.
A lot of the mothers didn't seem to know their dogs.
Yeah.
But maybe because they
Because they left early.
I suppose.
Yeah.
And it was Christmas when we came. When she came home, it was still
Right.
winter time.
Yeah.
So they don't get to play outside. So
Right.
if we had kept coming back, which we should have, if we had kept coming back, they would have had to be inside to get to each other, or kennel, the kennel. Well, they're still playing outside, but she's staying as long as, and we volunteer, so we're here.
Yeah. All right. Amber says, I can't thank you all enough. This is so great to see different stages of puppy learning and training. Thank you, Lynn, Sharon, and Sara for today. Thank you to the entire team working in the different stages of learning from birth.
Yeah, it's been really
Group hug.
It's been really great. High five.
There you go. Let me see. CK says, applause to you for the intentionally you've injected into the project of getting these puppies to become service dogs eventually. Just wow. And Amber says, I agree, so well planned out at every stage. Brenda from Canada says, very interesting and informative. You ladies really know what you're doing. Thank you for this. And this is a long one. Oh, this is Tina, and what she is pretty much was doing a quick recap on everything that we said. Thank you, Tina. That's awesome. Yeah, she captured everything, including the easy. Good job. That's
good.
Awesome. Thank you. Archie says, puppy watching training with Lynn, Sharon, and Sara, and Capri, and the Poppins, of course.
Yeah, this is how she parents.
Yeah, she's and BioBC says, I wonder if Capri can hear the puppies even when she is outside and when humans can't hear. That could be. They have an awesome sense of hearing.
Yeah.
Sense of smell, sense of everything.
She definitely can tell a lot of different things. We've been across the way and someone, just comes in or gets them, and it's not even the person. It could be Jamie, who she loves, but she'll hear the puppies.
Yeah.
So she can definitely hear what we wouldn't pay attention to, for sure. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'd like to see what the camera people think about the puppies as far as weight-wise. So there is last Sunday's weight. We'll be weighing them again this Sunday, so I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. How much do you think that they will weigh?
Gosh.
What do you think
1 week.
the top dog will be? Right now it's Bert, and the lowest dog, which is Banks. So I'm going to leave that up to you guys to...
We'll put them up there. If we get responses, we'll put the top...
Put some estimates up there and see how close you guys all get.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that is it. We're not going to get much puppy noises, but I hope you guys all enjoyed our segment here. And
it's great in general that you have a couple of the different things in here, because you hear the sounds while they're doing mail call and while they're doing other things. It's great.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to
and then the
see.
5:30 donkey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not everybody can say that. That's for sure.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. And we're going to work on getting the puppies a little bit more awake on next Thursday.
Oh, that won't take much.
No, it just takes a...
We needed them quiet this time.
Yes, we did.
That was my whole thing. I'm like, oh my God, I hope they don't go crazy, because you won't hear anything.
Well, I did spoon feed them about
Yes, you did.
2:15. I think not for that purpose. I just thought it would be a good
job.
thing because they're hungry.
Yeah.
They're always hungry.
Yeah.
I always teach my kids, engineer backwards.
Yeah.
So if you know you need it quiet, just move it backwards, and you did a perfect job. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. I appreciate it. Thank you to all the CPs out there, and special thanks to Tina for the recap. That's greatly appreciated.
Yes.
All right. Everybody have a great afternoon.
Bye-bye. Oh my gosh. Their jowls are starting to get bigger and floppier.